In the world of sports cars, there's a term called the sleeper, and that's a sports car that isn't actually that flashy. People might not even recognize it as a sports car. It's pretty plain even, but look under the hood and watch its performance and you can tell it's a sports car. Well, this is the sleeper of the turntable world. This is the Denon DP-30L turntable from 1981. It's really from the golden era of Japanese stereo equipment. I've had it for a couple years, and I've cleaned the bearing out and relubricated it, and the electronics are all in great shape, and it's just a great performer. You can get reviews of this from Liquid Audio, has a great review, and also on Vinyl Engine. It has a great couple of reviews of this turntable, and I can personally vouch for it's working really great. It also comes with the Ortofon 2M Red elliptical cartridge. That's a pretty recent addition. I've only used it about 15 hours all said, so probably hasn't even broken in yet. But anyway, let's get back to the features of this turntable. This is the DP-30L Mark 1. The DP-30L Mark II came a bit later and had a straight tone arm, but this has the classic S-shaped tone arm. It really gives it that great vintage look. And it has an auto lift capability, which I'll show in a bit. Basically, the record, when it's done playing, instead of the stylus going round and round in the lead-out track, it'll be smart enough to know it's getting to the end and it will lift. It won't return, because some people find that the gears involved in returning it affects the high fidelity of playback. So it just lifts, and it has a separate motor underneath for lifting, and there's a little mechanism here that does it. I can show you that in a minute. But anyway, it plays at two speeds, 33 1/3 RPM, which is your standard 12-inch record, and 45 RPM, which is usually relegated for singles, although you have some audiophile vinyl that plays at 45 RPM as well. This thing is heavy. It's 17.4 pounds, or about 7.9 kilograms, and it's made out of a vibration damping high density compound, which Denon says is 2 to 3 times the density of wood. And in the game of vinyl playback, you want to have a pretty good handle on damping your vibrations. You don't want it being transmitted like through footfalls on the nearby floor. You don't want that transmitting up and getting picked up by your cartridge. And this thing resists those kind of vibrations very well. And also down here, you can see, maybe not the best, but there's these pretty thick rubber feet. 4 rubber feet all around. Also helps with vibration isolation. So I'll show you a playback in a little bit, but before I do that, I did want to get into talking about the Ortofon 2M Red cartridge. And it comes with a head shell. This is not an original Ortofon head shell or even an original Denon head shell. This is a Sony that I picked up somewhere along the way. Anyway, it works beautifully. It's your typical SME style mount that goes into that arm. This is your typical half-inch cartridge, and it comes with a little protector underneath. This is nicely designed modern engineering. So the Ortofon 2M Red is an elliptical cartridge that measures 3 by 7 mils, mils being a 1/1000th of an inch, or in metric it's 8 micrometers by 18 micrometer profile of the diamond at the end of the cartridge. So plays beautifully, and also underneath this mat, which is an original Denon Japanese mat. Underneath this mat, I've taken the liberty of printing out some cartridge alignment plots. This is from the Conrad Hoffman software, which you can find on Vinyl Engine. I've aligned it to Lofgren B. Sometimes Lofgren B is simply known as Lofgren. There's also Lofgren A alignment, sometimes known as Bearwald. And then there's the Stevenson alignment, which some people who play classical music prefer because it aligns better near the end of the record where you have the most loud, dynamic stuff happening in classical records. But anyway, let me put on a record real quick and show you how the auto lift works. So now I'm going to do a little demonstration of the auto lift feature. I have a record on there. It's a Ravi Shankar record. This is a 1965 pressing. This is one of the things I love about the hobby. It's like playable art, you know, or even an antique. Or maybe 65 is maybe not old enough to be an antique, but you get my drift. And especially, you know, with a good deck like this and a new cartridge all dialed in, the fidelity is fantastic. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this right over to here. So this is what it does. It just hovers, okay? It hovers over top of the record. And in fact, I'm going to move it in a little bit closer. And then we'll turn on the power. And you can see there's a stroboscope. And I'm going to hit the 33. You see the strobe will kick right in. And now it's locked on that bottom ring. And it plays and up. And it lifts automatically, so it's not spinning the stylus at the end of the record and wearing it down unnecessarily. And it comes to a stop, and then all you have to do is really bring it back to its cradle. You can lock in the cradle if you like. And another little thing to tell you, it has the 45 adapter. It has a standard counterweight. I've got it dialed into about 1.8 grams as per the specifications on the Orderphone cartridge. And anti-skating, also dialed in. And I've verified that it works basically by taking the counterweight and making so that the arm floats. So it's not rising up or really falling down. It's kind of neutrally buoyant, if you will. And I hold it over the record, and the anti-skate will bring it back. Because you remember what the anti-skate does is it's trying to counteract the tendency for the cartridge to go inward, and so it balances it out with equal force so that the stylus sits perfectly in the groove, so your left and your right channels are being picked up optimally. So there you have it. This is the DP-30L direct drive turntable by Denon with the S-tone arm. Bearing has been lubricated and cleaned, and the cartridge that comes with it, Orderphone 2M, has been aligned with the Lofgren B alignment. Plays beautifully, and so there you have it. There's just one thing I forgot to mention, and that is, of course, it comes with its original dust cover. This thing could probably stand to use a bit of polishing. I've never touched it. In fact, when I got it, I removed the dust cover and kept it in safekeeping. Nice thing about the dust cover is these hinges slide right out. So there you have it, the Denon DP-30L. More than meets the eye.